I actually tell my students and my clients, don't do press releases. Don't. If you want to do it as an informational attachment at the end, but for that exact reason. It used to be the people who sent out press releases, it was only real news, real hardcore, and the important people read that. But now there's hundreds of thousands of press releases that go out every single day and then they're free services, which you can get blacklisted from Google for using. So there's all this stuff. So they've lost all their value. But when you build a relationship with a journalist and you write an email that says, hey, Christina, I've been following you for months. I love the stories you did about X, Y, and Z. You know, you're showing them the love. You're showing the appreciation.
Welcome to the Wealth Through Real Estate Investing podcast, your source for real-world strategies focused on creating long-term wealth, cash flow, and financial freedom through real estate. Through guidance, tips, and stories of highly successful real estate investors and thought leaders, we provide you the tools to succeed and reach the lifestyle you always wanted. And now your host, Dwaine Clarke.
Hello and welcome to the Wealth for Real Estate Investing podcast. This is your host, Dwaine Clarke. And today we have a very interesting topic. We're going to be talking about how to get PR for yourself. We have sought out the foremost expert on the topic, and we have a lot of real estate investors. We have a lot of business owners and real estate brokers. So hopefully they can give us some tips on how we can get more PR for ourselves. Christina Daves from PR for Anyone is the founder of the company. She's the do-it-yourself publicity expert who has personally appeared in close to over 1,000 media outlets and have generated over 8 figures in sales with free publicity for her students and clients. She's also the best-selling author of PR for Anyone, 100 plus affordable ways to easily create buzz for your business. Hello, Christina, and thank you for joining the show.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Like we had mentioned pre-show, this is a big topic. We have a very diverse audience, mostly real estate investors, but we also have a lot of business owners, so people that invest both in real estate but also own a business. And this is one of the big things that they always talking about is how do they get more press, which it could be leading to more sales and more awareness for their company. For people that are not familiar with you, I've kind of Googled you and looked at, and you're like everywhere. Would you just mind sharing just a bit about your background and your story?
Yeah, it's kind of accidental. I actually invented a product. I broke my foot and was in one of those big, ugly black medical boots. And we were headed to New York City, fashion capital of the world. And I'm on the train, medical boot fashions, medical boot accessories. Like, what can I buy in New York to make this boot look better? And there was nothing on the market. So I've always been an entrepreneur. I was kind of in a lull. Light bulbs went off. I would say my husband knew exactly what was going on in my brain. He's like, oh, here we go again. But I invented a fashion line for them. Everybody loved it. I did focus groups. I did a business plan. I talked to everybody like, oh, this is great. This is great. What I didn't realize is I had created a whole new space in the marketplace. And nobody knew they needed to decorate their medical boots. We had mortgaged our house, maxed out credit cards. I made some very poor choices and people that I hired to help me do this, which we've all done before. Don't beat yourself up. That's just part of business. But I didn't know what to do. So I taught myself publicity. I went to the library, like if you can believe that, and I read books and found everything I could, and I got really good at it really fast. And my first year of business, I was in 50 media outlets, one of which was the Steve Harvey Show.
Wow.
So yeah, I blew up my business from free publicity. And then people started asking me, how are you doing this? How are you doing this? Can I take you to breakfast? Can I take you to lunch? Can you show me how to do it? And I got to a point where I'm like, I can't go to any more breakfasts or lunches. I'm just going to start another business. So I did. So I launched this and as a teaching platform, and I knew it worked for me, but I wasn't sure if it was going to work for other people. And now it's been almost 7 years, and it's a system that works, and it works over and over and over again. And I have never had anybody call me or email me and say, Christina, I did exactly what you said and it didn't work. I get all the time. I did exactly what you said and it works. So it works. And we, like you said, we all need it. And if we don't do it, our competitor's going to do it.
Absolutely.
That's who's going to win this game. Whoever knows how to do this.
Yeah, definitely. But one of the biggest thing is that, people, of course, they know they need to do it. It's, something that, the very positive results. But it seems kind of intimidating on the surface when you see it's like, reaching out to journalists. Some people will think you just have to meet a journalist at some cocktail dinner and you have to strike a relationship, and then, then you're on TV or you're, getting into magazines and print ads. So what are some steps to kind of get the ball started for people that are not familiar with the process?
Right. And the first thing is, for those of you who are nervous about it, and I was, the first time I called my NBC, I had no saliva in my mouth. I could barely speak. I'm like, and I didn't get on. Let's just stare, because they're probably listening to me going, we can't put her on television.
Yeah.
But you have to remember that media is 24/7, 365. And, it used to be you had writers and editors and anchors, and you don't. Like, that's all been cut. The budgets have all been cut. So if you can become a valuable resource to a journalist, I promise you they will welcome you into their tribe. So how do you do that? One of the easiest ways is, and I would say start with 5. Who are the 5 journalists that cover your topic in media outlets that you really want to be in? And if you're a local business, it could be your local, like we have the Bull Run Observer or the Times or, the Inside Nova, like those local papers. Like, I now have the editor of Inside Nova on my phone. I could text him right now. He would text me back. That didn't happen right away. I had to build that relationship. But by going on social media, liking their stuff, sharing their stuff. So pick those 5. And maybe you even email, especially if it's local, and say, hey, just so you know, I'm in the space. If you ever need, whether it's me or I can send you to somebody, I know everybody, I'm happy to help, let me be that person for you. Put my name in your Rolodex and just know I'm always here for you without asking anything. And then keep doing that. And then when you start pitching, you've given them some value first.
Yeah, that makes sense. So that's kind of the part of step 1. And I say step 2, going towards, a story, like how are you coming up with a story idea to pitch to these journalists?
So my system is, I call it the Get PR Famous formula. It's like my proprietary system. I figured it out. It's what I've done over and over again, and it works. So I use a triangle, and one end is being newsworthy, one end is creating a great hook, which is your subject line, and then the bottom one is finding the right journalist. So newsworthy is, it's timely, it's interesting, it's valuable. Do your homework and find out who the demographic is, who's the end user of the media outlet that you want to be in. If your people are reading AARP magazine, don't pitch them a story about millennials unless you're pitching a story about their grandchildren who are millennials and how that affects them. You really, and I always say to people, if you do that extra little bit of homework, that's how you stand out. They know you've done your work. You're not just sending a press release to everybody, the same email to everybody. You're really being thoughtful and consciously deliberate in what you're pitching. So come up with something that's newsworthy for your industry and that media outlet. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mentioned press release, which I'm familiar with doing. I don't know where I learned it, but I just started like sending out press releases thinking like, okay, I'm going to get calls, or, mainly use it for, getting clicks to websites and stuff. And they have these services where you're paying money to send out this stuff. And, now that I'm kind of like listening to your stuff, I'm like, maybe that's not the right approach that I'm doing it. Can you kind of elaborate on, based off?
Yeah, and I'm so glad you said that, because I actually tell my students and my clients, don't do press releases. Don't. If you want to do it as an informational attachment at the end, but for that exact reason. It used to be the people who sent out press releases, it was only real news, real hardcore, and the important people read that. But now there's hundreds of thousands of press releases that go out every single day, and then they're free services, which you can get blacklisted from Google for using. So there's all this stuff. So they've lost all their value. But when you build a relationship with a journalist and you write an email that says, hey, Christina, I've been following you for months. I love the stories you did about X, Y, and Z. You're showing them the love, you're showing the appreciation. You can say, since you like this kind of story, I actually got, and I'm very good friends with now, a Fox News anchor, because I started watching her consistently and realized she loved women's entrepreneurial stories. So I would send her all my colleagues and my friends. I'm like, here's a great story. Here's a great story. Well, about a year later, she was doing a 30-minute syndicated television program on bringing a product from napkin to store shelves. Guess who she used? She used me on that, because I had just consistently value. So it's just really important. It can't be me. It's got to be, but that comes back. Like, I'm a big karma girl too. Like, I just think if you provide value to people, that comes back to you tenfold.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't believe in a press release. I believe in building relationships.
Absolutely. And then also you're kind of keen on the mindset too, of the consistency, kind of getting away with the fear that, because you see, like, there's so much news outlets, there's so many media stuff, from blogging to different stuff like that. So it gets a little intimidating. So just hearing you, just kind of inspiring to kind of be consistent. And of course, the empathy of giving back and, helping out, and it's going to come back, to you, in a potential story for yourself.
And back to that social media piece, I actually have a brand new client who, when I spoke at a conference before she signed up, she shared this story. But I live in the DC area, and Amazon, if you guys know, HQ2 is coming here. Mm-hmm. So she was on Twitter following one of the NBC news reporters, and he was talking about needing a real estate agent to come talk about this at this house, or they needed a house to go film at. Well, she's a real estate stager. She's not an agent, she's a stager. But she said, hey, I've got a house I'm working on, blah, blah, blah. It's right here. I can be there in an hour. They used her for that story.
Wow.
Not a real estate agent. They use, so pretty cool stuff. Like, if you pay attention, and again, that's why I say pick those 5 media outlets, because that's doable and digestible, that you can, you can follow those reporters. You can see what they're doing, see what they're talking about, and see if you can provide value to them.
Absolutely. As far as like like getting content, I know that, I may have an idea, you may have an idea, and you kind of just said, kind of follow those reporters to see what they're kind of writing about. Maybe there's like a certain, niche that they're talking about that may fit with you. Is there a way that you find content to pitch to these journalists?
Yeah. So hot content and trending content is big. Look at trends.google.com and look at Twitter. What are they talking about? And especially like in the real estate space, if there are fires in California, or hurricanes in Florida, or floods in the Midwest, what does that mean for you? It doesn't matter that you're not there. What if that happened here? Like I said, I'm in Virginia. I know there's lots of issues with flood, not being able to get flood insurance in Virginia. So those are things that you can take something that has nothing to do with you and pitch a great story and just say, hey, if you want a local spin on this, I can talk about, excuse me, pollen's got me today. I can talk about X, Y, and Z related to this story. What if it happens here?
Yeah, that's pretty interesting, because we do real estate brokerage nationwide, and we also have some business nationwide. Is that the same going nationally as well, or like what were kind of thoughts on that?
Absolutely. And look at studies. Inman, Trulia, Realtor.com, they are spitting out studies and statistics and content all the time. What does it mean? What does it really mean? And you can do it on a national level, or you can do it locally. Like I said, I'm in the DC area. We're an anomaly when it comes to real estate because of government and military. So none of those statistics ever work here. But what does it mean? What does, when we had the government shutdown, I was telling all my realtors, do you have anybody in the middle of a closing? Like, what does that mean? All of a sudden, they don't have a job. Like, can they still close on their property? Something like that. So it's taking these things that are national or local, or maybe it's something local that's happening in your area, but it's about to blow up nationally.
That makes sense.
And that's something you can say, hey, this started here, but it's about to be everywhere. And this is why. So let me share that story with you.
As far as kind of like a routine or something that, our listeners can kind of take action on immediately to get started. I know you said started with, five folks that to start following. Is there any other things that they can start doing immediately to kind of get started and get some action going?
Yeah. And especially in the real estate space, sign up for Help a Reporter Out. It's helpareporter.com. It's a free media query service. It comes out 3 times a day, 6 a.m., 1 p.m., 6 p.m. Eastern. And it's just all requests from journalists who want quotes or interviews. And I will tell you, the real estate space is packed in there. Realtor.com. I had one of my clients got a Women's Health magazine for a real estate story. It's real estate is, some people it's like, yeah, I see something every once in a while, but in the real estate investing, real estate, realtors in general, decorating, staging, that kind of stuff, it's in there a lot. It's worth the investment of your time. One of my agents was in realtor.com 30 times in 6 months.
Really?
So
wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, and imagine the credibility at a listing appointment.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you have a question about that? Let me find that article. Here you go. I was quoted on that. Oh, you're not sure about this? Oh, hang on. Here's, how credible does he look?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually use Haro a couple of times. I have got a couple of stories done in there. So it's an excellent service, and it's like, and it's free, and it's like, so you have Haro. And you had mentioned, I know there's like a lot of stories, a lot of agents nationwide. So like, how do you kind of, differentiate yourself from the pack? Is it just the consistency over time? Is it a subject line? Is it a phone call? Is it fax? Is it, what do you think?
Yes. No.
All the above.
In terms of the system, I do an email, a follow-up call, and another email. But in terms of what you're pitching and what your messaging is, you really need to have a niche. You really do. And everybody's so afraid of the niche. No, I can buy and sell for anybody. I can do this. But you really will get more business if you niche. And I love to tell the story, especially since these are all mainly real estate people, like they get the real estate industry.
Mm-hmm.
So there is an agent in Tampa, Florida, and Tampa, Florida has the most nudist communities of anywhere in the United States. True story. So she happens to live in one of these communities. So when she started in real estate, she was selling to everybody. Sell. And making, what's the average realtor make? $40,000, $50,000 a year. Well, then she niched herself. She dubbed herself the Naked Realtor and started being the expert in that space. So if you're looking to move there, who are you going to use? Probably her. And she grew her business. They're the #1 team in the state of Florida, and they do over 7 figures.
Wow.
For niching. And she got a reality show out of it.
Oh, wow. It's an interesting topic. You can imagine. So.
Yeah. But crazy as that sounds, that she could grow her business like that. So I know so many people are like, I can be everything to everyone. And that's hard to get business that way. Mm-hmm. When you start narrowing down, you're buying and selling apartments, you're buying and selling shopping centers, you're a realtor for first-time home buyers or move up, move down. You will see the difference because those people are looking for you. Mm-hmm. And you can really differentiate yourself.
Absolutely.
So and that should be your content and your pitches and everything else.
Definitely. Well, what about on the social media side? I know that's huge now. So is there any strategies and tips that you have for that?
Yeah, and again, the messaging is really important. I tell people do one platform and do it really well. People are going to check you out, period. They are. They're going to check, and we're going to check anyone out before we work with them. So that platform will show up, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever that is, if you're consistently using it. So when they can go, even if your Facebook only has 1,000 people, but you've got a lot of engagement, they can see that. But if you're on every platform and you've posted once a month on all of them, and I mean, it shows that you're not interested and you're not involved. And you need to be. I used to do speaking 5 years ago about this. I'm like, if you really hate it, you have to be on social media now, because if you're not, somebody else is, period. And they're the ones who are going to get found. And if you're working with millennials, you have to be. You have to be. And you have to be doing video constantly. I mean, that's for that demographic, that's where they are, and that's what they're looking for.
Yeah, you're definitely right there. We were kind of hesitant going on the social media side for a while. I was doing a lot of, direct mail to our investors and stuff like that. And we grew, over time, but as the marketplace changed and the needs changed, we had to kind of get adjusted to the newer times. And I learned a lot now from a lot of this stuff, because we was doing a lot of wrong things, just solely focusing on press releases and kind of stuff like that. And the consistency in building relationships with journalists and finding those niches is very key there. As far as like your services, so you're working with both business owners, real estate brokers and agents. What kind of like your services provide that if our people need to contact you, that they can help out with?
Yeah, so my gift, what I do really well is helping you figure this out. How do you make yourself newsworthy? How do you stand out from the crowd? And I have like my group coaching program. One of the things I realized, especially in the real estate investor, real estate broker side of things, is they don't know how to do lead gen. They don't know how to do digital lead gen. They don't know how to create an opt-in and collect names and email addresses. So that's all stuff that I help with. So I have a digital program, I have a group coaching program, and then I do one-on-one private coaching where if you don't want to deal with the group, Christina, just help me. Tell me, and I hand it to you in a silver platter. Do this. This is exactly what you need to do. So I'm happy to talk to anybody. Super easy to find. ChristinaDaves.com, and you can reach out. And but yeah, it's just something that needs to be done. I teach you how to use the system, how to use the formula, how to do it well, how to find the right people to pitch, and make sure it's you that's in front of your potential customers versus your competitor.
Yeah, it's a lot, like you were just saying, it's a lot of moving parts to it. And you gave us a lot of tips for people to start out so people can initially start taking action. But having a service like you to kind of help them navigate, find those niches, find the people to contact, and then the follow-up point, well, now you have people contacting you, now what do you do? So I think that's very valuable as well. So going towards the end, what is your website again, and how do we reach you? And are you also doing local events as well?
Yeah. And if you guys want, I have a PDF that will dive a little deeper for you. 3 steps to PR success. So it's the number 3 steps to PR success. So that'll give you a breakdown of this and give you some ideas to get started. ChristinaDaves.com will take you, anybody has a broken foot and wants some accessories, will take you there. It takes you to PR for anyone. It takes you to my book, like everything. So that's the best way to find me. Connect with me on social media for sure. And let me know if you need help, because this isn't going away, and it's just it's getting easier to get out there. So we're having a lot of fun. Let's put it that way. Seeing people, I get emails almost every day from people that I've worked with in the past or I'm working with now, like, wow, I just got in the Washington Post, or I just got on TV. So they're looking for you, and I can help you get there.
Absolutely. I really appreciate it. I learned a lot. There's a couple stuff that I need to be doing. I need to actually be doing it more. I really appreciate that. I know everyone on this call have appreciated, and I hope they reach out to you to get more information and look into your services again. Thank you so much, Christina, for joining us. I really do appreciate it, and look forward to talking to you soon at another point.
All right. Take care.
All right. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Wealth Through Real Estate Investing podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes or the listening platform of your choice. Also, please check us out at DwaineLClarke.com, as well as find us on Facebook for more useful content and resources.